Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for the Managing Employee Milestones and Moments That Matter During Digital Transformation episode, presented by Human Resources Today and sponsored by Akumina. I'm Naba, the site manager of HRT, and I'm excited to be bringing you this session with hard-earned insight about managing employee engagement while leveraging new technology. And if you have to run at any point today, this episode will be recorded and emailed to you. Before we go any further, I want to thank Akumina for sponsoring this webinar and helping us to make it happen. Akumina is the employee experience platform that empowers global enterprises to quickly create personalized digital experiences that help every employee in their role work smarter, not harder. Thanks again, Akumina. On that note, please feel free to ask questions during today's session. You can do so by submitting them into the questions panel on the right side of your screen. We'll try to answer as many of them as we can throughout and at the end of the presentation. My lovely colleague Brittany will be fielding all your questions today. She'll be happy to answer any you might have. So pull up the panel and say hello to let her know that you're listening. Also, if you have any audio issues during today's presentation, you may choose to dial in by phone. You can do so by selecting the More button in the upper right portion of your screen and then select the Switch to Phone option. So today, the reason we're all here is I'm talking to Bill Petersen, who's the Director of the Sales Training and Enablement at Everbridge, where he is responsible for the design, development, and implementation of training programs for all sales teams and new hires. And today, he's going to be talking to us about that. Take it away, Bill.
Awesome. Thank you, Nava. I promise there will not be a quiz at the end on the title. It's quite long, but again, the things that are in there are very, very important, and we're going to make sure we tie all those together as this digital transformation is really an important part of where we're going. What is Everbridge? What do? We provide critical event management software and services that help keep people safe and businesses running faster. So taking a real specific look at that, we have over 4,500 customers that are responsible for keeping their people safe, right? And they need to avoid or lessen disruptions every day, right? And things such as severe weather, workplace violence and active shooters, terrorism, and the rest that you can see there on the screen. These are things that happen to us every day, right? They affect us as people leaders. They affect us as sales leaders. They affect us as presidents and CEOs. So those all can affect our business. And we help our customers. There are over 500 million people on our platform, right? And they're able to determine which assets and people that are at risk and initiate the right actions, which is really important, right? They're also able to reroute people and things and that may be in their supply chain or other things that are important to them to avoid risks, right, and or production and service disruption. So anything that you may be making, providing, making sure that is able to happen in a time of duress or a problem that's happening within your company. We're also able to provide a common operating environment, right, to break down those silos. So a lot of times, say an IT outage, that affects a lot of people. And how do we break down the silos and have it be just an IT problem? But how do we make sure the whole company is dealing with it and can handle it the right way? And also to keep all the stakeholders, much like folks, especially in the people world, in human resources, being able to keep you informed and be able to make the right decisions, right, in the time of duress or when there's a problem. So my background, I am the Director of Sales Training and Enablement here at Everbridge. As Nava said, I design and develop and implement the delivery of training and programs for all the Everbridge sales teams. That's account management, our account executives, and our strategic account executives, as well as pre-sales. I run the new hire program for sales, as well as Everbridge as a whole. What we try to do with it is track our overall productivity and the impact that we're having on it. Things that we're always looking at are continuous selling skills, product knowledge, and general business acumen. So really helping our folks understand how our products fit into our customers out there and helping understand that we're helping businesses run and all the people that work within those businesses be safe. We run coaching and certification programs to ensure and know where people are at so we know how to help them and also know that their knowledge is where we want it to be. I have over 15 years of experience in onboarding and training talent. I was at very large companies like Oracle and Intuit. Oracle, about a year and a half before I left, they threw a party for me where I trained my 15,000th person through a new hire class. I also did this within the HR and total reward space at Global Force and WorkHuman. So for the folks on the call with the HR and people background, I understand the world that you're coming from. So just in general, some of the overall challenges and goals that we're facing and really want to get to, we hit on board and we grew by over 600 plus employees in a year and a half. So again, that ability to get that many people on board in a short amount of time and to get it to be systematic is definitely something that I think we all on this call have faced or may face in the future. Communication, right? How do we keep information that is current and govern that information? We're constantly growing. We're constantly trying to keep our product up to date, meeting our customers' needs and the things that they're trying to bring to the table as use cases and things that they'd like to do. How do we ensure that we're communicating that and sharing that information across the board? We also need to do this within everyone's role and geography, so we are globally dispersed. We have folks in Australia, Singapore, all across the rest of Asia, as well as Europe and here in North America. So again, how do we communicate all the right things, but also give people the feeling they getting what really matters for them, because there are different needs, especially when it comes to, say, privacy issues and the data that we're dealing with, and how do we enable those folks to be able to function within this large global world. One of the things that was important to me when I came, and coming from that total rewards and even the background I had at Global Force, was that idea of fostering core values, right? To make sure they're not just empty words, but they're words that we're bringing forward every day, and we're living those and breathing those in everything we do, and then people understand why they exist and that they are our core values. They're the important part of making those core values happen. Building a culture of success, right? Helping people be effective quicker. So getting on board, able to jump in and see an impact on a growing company, right then and there, your engagement starts. You're part of the culture, you're part of the growing, whether you're an engineer who's coding, whether you're a salesperson or a business development rep building pipeline, whether you're a sales engineer who's now able to demo quicker, all those things are really important. And also looking at ways to celebrate those successes, right? To give those pats on the back, to give those rounds of applause, and also to be able to do that across the world, right? Which is not easy to do. And also the other thing is a single source of truth, right? That single pane of glass, that when people go to get information, when they're going to training, when we're communicating even to our customers, that everything feels that it is current. There's nothing that I'm missing. There isn't collateral that, a coworker has that I don't, but that everyone feels that they're able to have all those right things and that everything that they have is the most current. So again, digital transformation, that's sort of the overarching topic here today. And really, what was our goal, right? And it was incorporating and leveraging technologies to support the workforce, right? So how do we use online, right, 2019 and forward-thinking tools to be able to support the workforce and also support the internal team to be able to support the workforce. So the people team, the training teams, right? How do we support that and make it better, right? So when we say, what is the way? The first thing we did was to have digital workflows to onboard our folks, right? We needed to be able to communicate across all the different departments that onboard people, right? As we go forward, I'm going to show examples. This is the only one I don't have a physical example to show because, again, they all have personal information in there. But what happens is when someone gets hired, recruiting puts in a move form or initiates a workflow. This workflow has all the important information about what is this person's role, right? Are they going to be in a specific vertical if they're supporting a vertical, say in marketing or in sales, right? Where are they going to sit? Who is their manager? So all the important things IT needs to know to set them up correctly. IT is then able to pick the right image that has all the right tools for that particular role and get that person's workstation set up. And it's either going to be shipped if they're remote, right? Or it's going to be put on their desk and set up and ready to go if they're here in one of the hubs. From there, after they're set up with all the right tools and passwords and things to do their job, the workflow then goes to their manager. The manager then knows their employee is ready to go. They then set up a lunch. We have every Monday, we have an onboarding program that HR runs and IT, where all the new hires get met. They go through a welcome to Everbridge, and they also get a welcome to how to use your workstation, use your logins, and all those types of things. And also the manager has a lunch scheduled, so when they finish that, they go to lunch. So after the manager has scheduled the lunch and knows everything's ready to go for their person, we then get an alert in training and operations where we're able to, A, know they're going to be coming to the next new hire class, and operations ensures that if they, say, a salesperson who has Salesforce.com put on their computer by IT, operations knows what territory they're going to have, and they're able to populate that. Again, that idea of helping people feel like they can jump right into their job. Their tools are there, their tools are ready, and also during our onboarding programs, we use the tools physically to get everyone involved in understanding how they're going to work those. The second way we leverage digital transformation or using online or web tools is in our hiring for success. We leverage the Predictive Index, and I'm sure very many of you on the phone have used and worked with Predictive Index, and we're able to get sort of a spin out, right, of what this person's personality, right, their likes and dislikes are, how they function, right, and we tie these to the job roles. So we have sort of a view into what we would like to see in these roles, and it really helps get the right people to the right teams and to the right places. So again, making the hiring process much more effective, targeted, and getting the right people in to talk to and into the right roles. The next is our Bridge to Everbridge program, and this is the welcome to the company. It's a blended e-learning and experiential welcome to the company. And what that really means is we have an online, there's pre-work you do before you come. And what that does is really level set some of the things you need to know to make when you're here in person work much more effectively. We do a lot of what we call experiential learning. And when we kind of get into a little bit later on, we'll talk about what does that look like, what does it mean, and how does that welcome you to the company. So here you can see Lily Harrington. She's head of our Culture Bridge program here. We actually build that into the program. People can sign up and be part of our Culture Bridge program right from the get-go, right from the beginning in Bridge to Everbridge. So what we're trying to do is build how our company works, how things go. So one of the other things we do is what we call tribal knowledge. So an example is with our core values. What I'll do is I'll take the class and I'll divide them into the four teams for our 4 core values of customer focus, leadership, integrity, and passion. And what I'll do is I'll assign each team one of those core values. And then they have 45 minutes to go out on the floor. They have to interview 3 different people on the floor without guidance. So the idea is to go out there and you're forced to meet new folk, start building your virtual team. And the first part of the exercise is they need to find out what this person does and what's important to them. And then ask them about the core value and have them describe it, what it means to them and how it is displayed at Everbridge. What this does is, it's giving the new hires the knowledge because they now have to come back to class and present their findings. So first they have to tell the class about the 3 people they met. So they just built 3 new people in their virtual team. And then they explained the core value, so now they're giving the core value and explaining it to the class. Now it is internalized. But the nice part is now they've talked to 3 people on the floor who are now immersed in talking about those core values. So again, those are the types of things that we've built into the program. So again, that tribal knowledge being something to me that's just very important, right? That sharing, right? Informing, learning, right? From across the board. And who knows it better than the folks on the floor? From there, we have a sales new hire bootcamp. So when folks are done with Bridge to Everbridge, they come to a week-long program. Again, it's a blended e-learning program, so there are courses and learning paths that the team goes through where they learn about the different products, our different processes, and things like that. It's very experiential. They use their tools as they go through the week. There's role plays built in where they have to mimic sales calls. They actually have to work with their BDR, so their business development rep, in the class and start building out their go-to-market plan right in the middle of the class. So it becomes something you take home with you and start to work on right from day one. We also have a capstone at the end of the week where everyone has to give up and give a sort of mimic a quarterly business review where we give them a fake territory. And they have the morning to work on how they would attack the territory, who they think their top customers are, and why they are the top customers. And they have to present this to the class. And we also bring in leadership to also be judges on these different capstones. So again, it mirrors the job and mirrors the sales cycle. So again, as you can see, one of the things we do in there, we have a panel. So I bring in as you can see, Bill Betcher from our marketing team interviewing 5 reps from 5 different verticals, so representing our corporate team, state and local government, healthcare, and on down the line, including international. And what he's doing is actually interviewing the reps and getting them to talk to the new hires about how they go to market, right? So whatever particular topic at this time, we're interviewing and sharing those stories and then allowing the reps to ask questions and pick their brain, but also we leverage them. They become the customers and the reps then have to call into them and do their practice. Next is learning paths. So we've built learning paths by role, and you can kind of see here what they look like. So we leverage our e-learning where we have our different products. So I have learning paths by products, and they all sort of follow the same pattern, right? It starts with the who and why. So who are we selling this to, and why would they even be interested in it? Then we walk through sort of the cycle and how you work with the different business units that support you through there. So what types of things should we be calling on? How do we build the ROI? And then from there, we talk about how do I deal with competitive questions, right? How do I deal with the pricing and the packaging of the product? And then at the end, how do I transfer them over and get them to implementation? We also leverage learning paths where every quarter we push out a quarterly learning path. So that's the just-in-time learning of things that are new, whether it's new product features, whether it's new tools, whether it's new people coming on and how you work with them. We build a learning path every quarter of between 2 and 4 hours of learning that helps everyone stay current and all on the same level playing field.
Bill, we actually had a quick question come up about that. So in terms of learning paths that you said you offer them quarterly, how do you encourage employees to want to get this done and be motivated by it?
Sure. Our president, I'll be honest, is very invested in learning and the learning team, and there's a little bit of fear there. But in general, we have a very inquisitive team. I think the culture of learning is something that's very instilled, and we are growing and growing very fast. And I think the opportunity there, I think it's very obvious that if I can learn more, I can sell more, I can be more successful. All you got to do is go online and look up Everbridge stock, and you can see how well we're doing. I think people are really motivated to want to learn and still in the culture. I do not have quizzes built into these learning paths. They're there with the idea of, look, your pipeline, your success, your career growth is really what's important. And I think people appreciate the fact that it's not a push, but it's a pull. It's that idea of I leverage their wants and needs to build these learning paths. So the product learning paths that you see on the screen on the left were very much dictated by the team and how they go to market and what they'd like to know about the products. The quarterly learning certifications, I poll the team the quarter before, so getting near the end of the quarter. So recently, I just sent out the poll for Q3. And the team tells me what they want, what they feel they want to know more about. And also, too, there's some from the top where here's the things we'd like to push out. So it's very collaborative, and it becomes the things that they want. And the nice thing is they're reusable. And when we get to talking about the intranet, the idea is getting it so people now they can go back to listening to some of these pieces when they want to reinforce something. You know, maybe I'm in the parking lot of, preparing to go on a meeting. I can listen to some of the MP3s and whatnot while I'm driving to see a customer, right, and get that language and messaging there. So I really try to include the people and make sure that it's what they want. And I've never really had a struggle with chasing people to get things done.
Yeah, I really like the way you said it's a collaborative culture and it's based off of, what your employees want to be learning about. And I think having that mentality and shaping that for your culture is really important. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And next, I said the intranet, right? Acumen is sponsoring this. And again, one of the things we really needed was company-wide communication and content delivery, right? Everywhere, and my salespeople and everybody wants information that's current, and they don't want to have to weed through really old stuff, and they want to feel like the content's always new, right? That I am getting the most current and the best. And that's where the intranet is really going to help us be able to grow. Here's what our intranet looks like. We were able to unveil it yesterday at our town hall. This is the top half of the main screen. But it's pretty exciting. People with the response was pretty amazing. You could see people looking at it and going, oh, wows, and all that kind of stuff. But the idea is it's really meant to help tie us together. As we grow globally, one of my former team members is our Australian sales rep now. He is a lone man in Australia all by himself. He doesn't have a hub. He doesn't have other people there with him. How do we make someone like that feel connected, right? Little things like having his time clock on here, so I know it's 1:30 in the morning and I probably don't want to wake him up, right? So that idea of making sure everyone feels like it's for them. So that was the whole intent and purpose as we built this intranet, was to tie us together to feel unified and feel like we're doing this together. And I'm getting the most current things and the most important things. And when you really look at the way we do that, the other thing that it supports is our learning management system. So one of the things is our e-learning. I am now able to use the intranet to pick and choose the pieces I want to push forward. So as I build those learning paths, I can now push that learning path right to the intranet and make it easier for my team to get their information. And also any other things that come, if I build this learning path and it's done and there's new information to come out, I can immediately push out just in time all the newest information. And all this e-learning also supports all these other programs. So again, it's that idea that everything is unified, all your content is unified, all your learning is unified, and across the globe that we're unified. So again, our LMS is now looking much more modern. We just brought in a new platform, much like we did for Acumen for our intranet. So again, it's giving that more modern feel and experience. And the cool thing is we're going to be able to go directly here from the intranet and make it a one-stop shop. And then the last piece of the puzzle is a digital adoption platform. So we're leveraging a tool where we're able to push how to use our product to our customers. So little pop-up bubbles that pop up all the way through as you're onboarding to Everbridge as a customer that walks you through how to use the product. And it starts to go away like training wheels as you start to use the product in a much more robust way. It will also give us the analytics that will enable us to build the right programs and trainings that are most needed to support where our customers may struggle the most, so we can hopefully alleviate that and make it an even better experience. And we're also doing the same thing on the inside. So for Salesforce training, we're now going to be able to have bubbles that pop up, walk you through how to put in a lead, how to put in a new customer, how to update your forecast, right? How to go get data usage for our sales ops team. We're going to also be able to use it for other tools across. So our finance team is going to use it for their financial tools and walk people through how to, put in purchase orders, right? How to pull numbers for the quarter and things like that. So again, it's going to help us internally learn how we're using the tools, find out where our people are struggling the most, and be able to create programs and trainings that we can include in the learning path, include in new hire, and include in bridge to Everbridge, right, as we go forward. So again, that thread all the way through of all these things being connected digitally. So again, WalkMe is the tool we're going to be using, and just again, that platform is really going to give us some real good insights into, again, how we support our internal use of stuff, but also, too, how we're going to support our external customers and make them feel even more comfortable using our product. So we talked about the goal. The goal was incorporating and leveraging these technologies to support the workforce. So we'll kind of look at each one and what was the way, what happened with all this, right? Because I think a lot of it sounds like great ideas, but what did it really mean? What did it become? Right, so we talked first was the digital workflows to onboard, right? It gave a better experience as we went through 600 new hires, right? We got better at this workflow. And we were able to give a better experience for the candidates, right? For the managers, and they feel comfortable that their folks are being communicated with and know exactly what's happening. And therefore, it's better for the company. People feel good that I want people coming in and going, wow, I made the right choice. This is where I want to be. Right? We have pre-hire communication of company information and learning. I built what we call the Passport to Everbridge. And it looks just like the Passport, and each page is a little story about what we do or a part of our product. It's all external facing information that's on YouTube and on our website. But what it does is it keeps that candidate who's accepted the role engaged as they wait to come on and feel the pride and start understanding what we do even before they land here and have day one. Also pre-hire communication of the trainings to expect, so they know things are to come. We're here waiting for you. As you can see, the image for the PC and matches the role with pertinent tools. We let them know, hey, your workstation, everything's ready and waiting for you. We can't wait for you to get here. Oh, and by the way, here's when's bridge to Everbridge. Here's when sales onboarding and other onboardings are going to mirror and match sales onboarding as we grow and start to build those. And also, too, we have learning paths for you. So when you finish new hire, you're going to have continued learning, and we're really invested in you, and we can't wait for you to get here. Right, hiring for success. So it's helping us using Predictive Index, right, using PI, it's helping us find the right people for the right job, right? And I think that goes the other way around, providing the right job for the right people, right? It's a two-way street, and I think we all want to help each other feel happy and put people into the right place for success, right? Having job descriptions and PI criteria, right? It helps us search and find those right people. And again, we want people, even if you end up not working here, going, wow, that was a good experience, and tell other people about that, right? It has already reduced our attrition, and it's definitely increased our engagement scores. And I'm really excited to see when we hit this year what the engagement scores will look like. as well as where we come when we do some of the best places to work surveys and things like that.
Bill, we have another quick question about this. So, yeah, you just talked about how it had helped really well with increasing engagement, but as much as we love to use like intranets, and sometimes they can be difficult to navigate and help employees find the right resources or information that they're looking for. So how did Everbridge address that issue and make it very user-friendly?
So we tried to spell it out, and that's why the learning paths were really detailed by role. So being able to really spell it out and go, here are the things that are going to help you be successful. And we built those with the folks in the role. So I sat down with folks that have been here in engineering. We sat down with folks in customer success, sales, HR, recruiting, all the different teams across the board, finance and whatnot, and really tried to identify what are the things you need to know, what did you wish you knew, right? And really built that with the experience of coming on board in mind, but not just on board, but what am I going to do going forward? So I understand what my plan is. And one of the other things I think that's really important, it's not only just sort of leading the horse to the water and saying, here's the things. One of the things I think is really important as you go through any process is always explaining the why. Why are you doing something? Why is this tool important? How does it fit in the bigger picture, right? In Bridge to Everbridge, one of the things we really try to do is in every section, make sure all the different roles that exist here at Everbridge, they understand how they fit in the picture, right? Why you're building what you're building in the product, why we're trying to sell something a certain way, why we can or can't sell it into a certain vertical. And I think that transparency of why, but also being open and asking, what else do you need? And then incorporating those as we go forward. So I hope that answered the question that was asked.
Yeah, that was very helpful. And I think just what you brought up about that constant communication and checking in with employees to see what they want is the perfect answer. So
yeah, everything's a two-way street, and I think I always use it, especially in sales. I think we've been taught that someone who talks really well and can sell ice to the Eskimos, so to speak, is a good salesperson. And to me, that's not true. It's someone who can listen. Right. And I think we've always heard that term ABC, always be closing, right? And coffee's for closers. I teach my sales reps right from day one, ABC is always be curious. Be curious about learning. Be curious about your customers and what they want to do. Be curious about your team and what they want to become and what they need to be successful. So I try to make sure we're applying that ABC, always be curious, every step of the way, and that this is a journey, right? This is something that doesn't end and never ends. Even at Oracle, I was there 11 years. It was constantly changing. It was constantly evolving, and you always have to approach it that way.
Right. Well, I like that a lot. They'll always be curious, and I'm going to have to remember that.
Nice. So our Bridge to Everbridge program, right? Just what is the way, what was so important as we build this program? And to me, it was, the company goals and core value, and showing how you as an employee, right? The company goals are built by you, right? It's built by our employees, and it's also built by our customers, because our customers drive what our goals are. And our goals are to make them happy, make people at those companies safer. And our core values support that all the way through. And to me, that's extremely important. And core values are they can't be empty words. They got to be things that are alive and living every day. And getting people bought into those and living them and right in the middle of class is so important. I need to know, how do I fit in the now and the future? But also telling people where we've been. What is the context? We got some folks who've been here who built an amazing past, right? And how do we get that past understood? Because that's what we're building on. That's the foundation of the house. And I can't get rid of that foundation. So here's our foundation, and here's how we're going to build the second, third, and on levels from the future. Blended learning, right? I think the experiential part is really important, and having the e-tools, right, to be able to do this, to leverage the internet to communicate with folks and show them, where your information is going to be. Leveraging an LMS to have pre-work and tracking that, very important, right? And that's something that we have to do. Tribal knowledge, sharing in the learning. The learning is not just with the people in the class, but it's the people outside the class, because it helps reinforce and build pride. Every time we run the program and I send people out on the floor to do these exercises, people come up to me and they're like, oh man, the class came up to me today and I was so excited. I got to tell them about, the core value, or I get to answer them about my role and tell them what I do. That builds excitement, and it builds a two-way street where it's constant learning and growth, because it's very easy to get stuck in your day-to-day, and this helps expand learning to the folks by making them be part of the knowledge. Right, our engagement increases. Definitely been seen in our last engagement score. I wasn't able to get the exact, but I do know it definitely went up quite a bit. And same thing with our retention, right? We're seeing people stay longer. We're having people, we're not seeing anyone leave at the beginning. To me, that's really important. And the thing I look at is the pride, right? I want that pride you made the right choice. You leave that new hire class and you're like, oh my God, I cannot wait to go do my job. And I understand why I'm doing it, and boy, did I make the right choice. I want them telling everyone I made the right choice. The Sales New Hire Bootcamp, again, this is my little world, so I have a little bit more empirical data around this, right? But to get everyone to understand the sales process, how to leverage the tools and the cool things we have around to help you do your job, I want you to be able to go out there and do your job right away. Right? It leads to better engagement and success when you're doing it right from the beginning. My new sales reps have 175% increase in their activity over the tenured reps. So they're hitting the floor and they're excited and they're off and running. We have seen a decrease in the time to first sale of 138%. So my reps' time to getting to their first sale is so much quicker, and that's, again, that leads to pride, that leads to excitement, it leads to what's next and what else can I do, and that's what I want to see. And I've also seen the deal size double over the tenured reps in the year and a half that we've been running this program. So that's pretty good empirical data of the experiential process, and we're trying to weave that, as you can see in the next one, our learning paths, right? How do we mimic that so everyone is going the same way? Continued engagement and growth. I want people to feel like I got more to do. I want to become a manager. I want to become a, field rep. I want to do whatever is next, right? And also, how do I help you keep up with constant change and growth, right? We're changing. We're listening to our customers and making the product better and more focused and solving more use cases. How do I help you keep up with that and grow? Because it's hard when you're constantly adding and making it bigger and better, plus keeping your base knowledge that you already had. So having refreshers and continuous learning, but the things that you want, as I said, it was a two-way street. What would you like to learn? How would you like to learn it? What ways are going to make you learn it better? I love doing exercises. One of the things right before this call, I met with one of our product managers and product marketers, and we're talking about a training coming up. And one of the things I want to do is literally walk someone through like they're our customer living a specific scenario. So I want them to have sort of walk the walk and talk the talk of the customers that they're going to be calling, so they've walked a mile in their moccasins and understand what they're after. And the other thing is supporting career growth, right? As we build these learning paths, they are now going to become part and parcel of bigger career paths, right? Not only here's my onboarding, and here's my 30, 60, 90, but here's my first year, here's my second year, and also what can we do to support folks who have been here 10 years? How do we help sponsor you to go to continued learning at a community college in the area or a state university? How can we get you to some of the real nice programs at Harvard University and sponsor you? How can we help you maybe become a speaker at an important event in the field that you're an expert, and helps, again, help your career grow, because again, everyone needs that support and wants to feel that they're always going forward. The intranet, again, our Acumen sponsorship, right? Again, what are we after? That full company engagement and communication, right? Yesterday, when we showed everyone where we're at and getting towards this launch, they were really excited. And the good part is they were able to see the personalization, right? That it's going to be global, that it's going to support all the different departments. It's going to support the different verticals. It's going to support the different use cases. So that targeting, right, and giving experiences. So on our main page, right, we're going to have an executive corner where every couple of weeks we're going to have an interview with an executive here or even externally, right? We have a new CEO starting, right? So to be able to, bring him forward to the company and give him a voice right from the get-go. Engagement surveys and things like that. Our HR team is now going to have a place to push those out and get better people, amounts of people answering the questions, pushing out best place to work surveys and things like that. So engaging experiences, right? It's Pride Month this month. So what ways can we push out things for Pride Month and have contests and things like that? So those are the types of things we want to leverage this for, right? And everyone feels like it's built for them because it has the right pieces and the stuff that they want every day to do the job, right? We want that company culture. We want those core values right up there. But we also want everyone to feel connected, that, I know what time it is when I'm calling my colleague, right? We have pages for each of the hubs that are going to tell you what are the floor plans and, if I'm going there, what rooms are good to use for certain types of meetings. Who should I call for catering if I'm sponsoring a client or doing a new hire class or training or whatever it is. So you feel comfortable going there and able to do the right things and feel connected. And again, in the end, it's that being able to do your job faster, easier, and better. One of my biggest mentors in life was a gentleman named Rudy Corsi, who was an amazing gentleman. He was the head of the Pittsburgh Steel Coalition. And I got the really lucky chance to work with him when he became the chief operating officer in North America at Oracle. And I remember he was really nice, took me under his wing, and he always told me, Bill, if you can keep things simple and remember two things. Whatever you can do it better. And he goes, once you can do it better, do it faster. He goes, once you can do the same thing faster, do it better. And he goes, once you can do it better, do it faster. And he goes, that's the way you need to look at everything. He goes, there's details in there. But he goes, those are the two things that are the most important, faster and better. So again, the things that this intranet's going to give us is mobile, right? It's going to be the first time our folks are going to be access their content mobilely, right? So as we become more geographically and globally dispersed, that's important. I'm going out to visit my customers. And it's not just my salespeople. It's my implementation team. It's my professional services team. It's my executives who are traveling around the world. It's my HR team going to interview people, right, and try to find talent across the world. How are they able to access this information to do their job better, right? It's personalized. It's for them. This content is going to be driven by the company. We're going to have admins that are going to run the content and make sure it's exactly what's needed. That old stuff goes away. New content comes in its place. Things that need to be accessed forever, right, is there and is evergreen. It's going to transform the company, right? It is helping us grow, change, communicate, and get through this growth to go from 200-300 employees to 1,000 employees in 2 years. That's huge. And how do we communicate and do that is important. And again, it's how do we stay connected? That connectedness, how do we feel we're all part of this together? And again, the innovation, right? For people to be able to, there's over 150 widgets we're able to pick from, right? So there's no end to the way. We can put up polls, we can put up interviews, we can put up videos, we can put up links to our LMS. There's really no end to what we're going to be able to do with this. And again, this is going to be sort of the linchpin for all the programs that we're trying to run to be able to communicate and communicate them in real time to where you are in the world at that given moment. The LMS, right, gives us that one-stop shop for e-learning, tracking, and testing, right? Supports all the certifications and role plays and whatnot that we do, and it helps us scale globally. It's also going to support our learning paths. All my learning paths go in the LMS, and all the learning paths that the rest of the company is now mimicking and creating. And again, that's going to be career paths long term. So again, it helps support career growth, right? And to me, education is very important in being able to track that and know where people are at. Excuse me. And lastly, a digital adoption platform, right? It's going to let us have insight into our customers and internal folks, right? To know what programs are needed, what trainings are needed, right? So we're able to provide the right information. So where people are sticking the most, or they don't understand how to do something, how can we provide the right training? And again, this is a two-way street. So again, those are the way, right? Here's all the things that we're trying to do. And really, what did it get us, right? It got us a lot of stuff across the board, and it's going to continue to get us a lot. It's going to build our culture. It's going to support our core values. It's going to help people careers grow, and just make us stronger as a company. And we learned a lot along the way, and we're going to continue to learn a lot along the way, right? We're just scratching the surface and beginning this digital journey. Well, the first thing is change management and communication is key, right? We have to have a plan. A lot of the stuff that's going to be in the intranet already exists, but it exists in different places. Some of it's by email. So one of the things we're going to work on is, now that it won't be an email, how can we leverage those past emails to say, hey, go to the intranet, right? And do that for a little while. Get that muscle memory of, guess what, all this information is there, and this is where it's going to be. And also the communication, right? Having a very hard launch that tells everyone how to leverage and work with the internet, how to use the LMSs, how to use a digital adoption platform, right? And also behind it, the why. Why are we doing these things, and what does it mean for you? Because I believe, and I believe the same when I was raising my kids, right? It's that idea of, you don't just tell someone what to do, you got to tell them why, and they're going to be more invested and bought in. Core values must be incorporated. Everything you do needs to be driven by your core values. That's who you are. You didn't just choose them arbitrarily, and they can't be empty words. If they are, they're very hollow, and it makes for a hollow company. But to have those values, be forefront, that's really important. And we do some really cool things here. We have Tasty Tuesday, right? We have Thirsty Thursdays. We theme all those, right? A lot of them match the different months that go on in the year. We've had Pride themed stuff this month, and we've had stuff for Black History Month and things like that. Those things are very important, and they're part of our core values, and they need to be incorporated in all our programs as we go across the board. We need to listen, listen, listen. The answers come from everyone else. I have zero of the answers. I have the tools that can help them, but the answers come from the folks that are out there, the consumers. It comes from our customers, and it comes from our internal employees, and we need to listen to them, because that's what's going to drive what digital tools are going to be the most effective and what we're going to put inside those digital tools. Involve stakeholders, right? The stakeholders need to understand, after we've listened to all, right, how are you going to drive this? Right? It's part of the communication and change management, but also too, it's a two-way street. What do you want pushed down? But also, here's the stuff that's going to bubble up, and how do we make those match and mirror each other and become, really important and lived every day, and also reinforced. Without the management reinforcement, nothing happens. And last is one thing, it's a journey, right? We're not done. We're never going to be done. Anyone who thinks you're going to be done, you're mistaken, right? It's a journey, and you have to understand your company's story. And you know what? You're in a different chapter each year, month, whatever. but you have to understand where you are and get good at that, and then build towards that next chapter, and understanding that it's going to always change. It's going to change as you grow. It's going to change as the world changes around us and needs change, and just being comfortable with that. And I think those are things that are just really important as you go forward. So that's all I have. If anyone wants to reiterate the title again for extra points, you're welcome to. But with that, Nava, thank you very much. And any other questions, more than happy to handle them.
All right, well, thank you so much, Bill. Yeah, I think that if anyone wants to take their hand at trying to reiterate the title, throw it in the chat box and we'll see if you got it right. But I also want to say thank you so much for a fantastic presentation. I think that this was a really comprehensive way, seeing from beginning to end how it actually worked for Everbridge. And I think there's a lot of takeaways that everyone can use at their company. So thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity.
All right, well, with that, let's dive into our questions. So the first one we have is, what is a big factor you would say in regards to scalability for onboarding and training when you see such a rapid growth in employee count?
Leverage your virtual team. I think in the past, you try to bite off more than you can chew alone. It's including all the people that are part of it. We have an amazing woman, Abby Nye, in our recruiting department. We communicate across, and she is the point of contact for all the new hires. And, not stepping on her toes and letting her do that and being comfortable and knowing, she's awesome at it, right? So letting her do that communication and getting the people in the door, making sure you're working with the managers, and the managers are doing their piece, that they're welcoming their employees, they're ensuring all the steps are being done, that they're having that lunch to make that person feel comfortable on day one. So again, it's leveraging that team around you, IT, making sure IT is, getting all the right tools for the people set up. One of the things we did is we set up images based on roles. Right, we're hiring fast, so having predetermined things to put on the computer based on roles, so they get that move form, they're able to get that computer set up quicker, faster, and more targeted. So again, it's you're only as strong as the people around you, and that's as I guess I got more experience and older, I've realized that I'm only one little piece of the puzzle. And, making sure the whole team is doing it and doing it together.
I think that's a great point that you just said. It's all about the team and connecting with them and understanding how you all can work together to create better results. And so we actually had a kind of a follow-up question to that. So you had mentioned earlier in terms of learning and training that you would have sessions that people could come in kind of in the middle of the day, or even, on commutes to go to sales calls. They can be listening to talks about sales training and things like that. Do you have any other examples of what people can be doing at their companies to encourage more learning and kind of integrate that as more of a priority into the culture?
Sure. Brown bag sessions are great. A lot of lunch and learns. We do a lot of lunch and learns here where it's not always necessarily the ultimate expert. A lot of times we'll leverage a sales rep or an HR business partner or an implementation rep, right? Where they talk about their experiences and the things that are working, or a specific use case and how they got through it. A sales rep walking through how they won a deal or even lost a deal to help everyone else get stronger. So that's definitely one way that we can do that. I also believe a lot of it is too how you play games, using activities, right? One of the ways we're, trying to explain people, we have a product called Internet Alerting. And one of the things we're working on, like I said right before this call, is what happens if there's an IT outage? Right, and what we're trying to do is come up with a game or a sort of activity where you're experiencing an outage, and how do I live that? How do I go through that so I understand what my customer lives, what do they do. So it's sort of a choose your own adventure type thing. So I think a lot of the immersive learning is where you see the most sort of bang for your buck. And also too, I think a lot of times it's not when it's the experts, but it's the people that are living it every day and leveraging their stories peer to peer. And also too, making sure you're matching, what people do. So I have a lot of folks who are very verticalized, like my healthcare team. So, how do we get them together? Can we bring in even experts? We've brought in, folks from local hospitals. We've brought in folks from clinics, EMTs, different types of folks, talking to them, either in team meetings or in trainings or recordings. I'm a big believer in recordings, right? Because you can leverage them and reuse them. Recordings don't know time zones. Recordings don't know that they're going to be reused, and they can. And I think it's that being able to get that scale and reach and also reusability. The reps and folks love being able to go back and visit something. And I think small chunks as well. Being able to, over time, we've worked with the SMEs and even just the folks on the teams to try to make things in smaller chunks so you can leverage it. You're driving somewhere, I can listen to that MP3 in the car easily. I have one whole team that, every time there's a training, I know now, I just send their manager the MP3. So I know everyone on that team is putting it on their phone and they're listening to the stuff in their car, on their commutes and out to go see customers. So it's finding the ways people want to consume it and ensuring you're giving it to them in the way that works best for them.
I like that a lot too. And I think that's great that you can have so much trust in your employees to know that this is the way that they've said they want to consume this information, such as through MP3s while they're in the car, and knowing that they are going to complete it and they will come to you if they have questions or, want more information about it.
It's never going to hurt my feelings if you don't do it. It's going to hurt your success and career is the way I look at it. It's building that responsibility of I'm responsible for myself, I'm responsible for my success. And I think people wanted to be treated like adults that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we are in the workplace, we're all adults, right?
Exactly.
So you had also mentioned, you do games, and one of them was like imagining if there was an outage and how the customer would feel. So in cases like that, because you are kind of in the security space, what concerns did you have with creating a digital workplace?
None. We've been through info security, so we've been vetted. We are FedRAMP compliant. So all our tools are vetted by my security team. They all go through, personal identification tests and whatnot. We are also GDPR compliant. So everything that we bring in goes through a pretty rigorous testing and is always GDPR internationally compliant and also FedRAMP compliant internally. So, we do vet that and ensure that, we're compliant across the board.
Oh, okay, perfect. Good to know. I think we have time for just one more question. And so you talked a lot about, building the virtual teams and the virtual employee experience. So can you explain why you chose Akumina to be your partner to help create this experience?
Sure. Well, we have a former employee who is at Akumina, which was a nice communication point. And also our director of IT has worked with Akumina in the past, as well as one of their implementation partners. So it was a nice synergy to have a little bit of understanding of what we do on their side, and also some past experience working with them. The process has been really amazing, and again, their approach, because this is a dynamic and digital workplace, I think is going to give much more than what we look at as traditional intranet. I wanted more than just static content, right? I wanted that mirroring what we are. We're dynamic. We're helping our customers with problems they might not even know are happening yet, right? No one knows when the hurricanes are going to come, right? We know some are, but we don't know when, where, and all that. Much like our customers, we want something that is going to be able to change with us, to be able to be dynamic with the content and even the form, the GUI, right? How it looks, to be able to have widgets that I can change, to put up a splash page when something really important happens. All that kind of stuff, that ability to morph was key to us. So that's why Akumina made such sense to us, plus the really nice past connections we have.
Well, that's great to know. It does seem like Akumina was a great partner, and now I want to see what more they can do.
Definitely, and more than happy. Anyone has any questions or like any examples, I'm more than happy if people reach out, to be a resource and help you with any of the stuff on the call today.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much for that. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. But thank you so much, Bill. Thank you so much to Akumina for helping put this on. And thank you for everyone for attending. As Bill said, if you do have any more questions or you want to check out more of our webinars, please feel free to go to Human Resources Today. And thank you again to everyone for joining us.
Goodbye.